Do you feel like your marketing team is constantly behind on the priorities that actually matter? In working with dozens of marketing teams over the years, what separates the high performers from the ones that struggle has almost nothing to do with budget, headcount, or the tools they use. It comes down to their habits and their systems. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 habits that high-performing marketing teams use to get more done without burning out. And you don't need to spend more money or go on intensive retreats to implement them. You can start using them today. Hello, I'm Brent Shiratori, and this is Ideal Marketing. Here's what we're covering today. First, we'll look at how to reduce friction so starting work takes 1 click instead of 5. Second, how to use time blocking for deep work so you're not spending your whole day in reactive mode. Third, a simple system for clarifying your next actions so nothing falls through the cracks. Fourth, we'll get into quarterly rocks and how to connect your daily tasks to your biggest priorities. Fifth, how to implement habit stacking to build new behaviors without relying on willpower. Sixth, using fear setting for those scary but high leverage decisions. And finally, seventh, the single focusing question that cuts through the noise when everything else feels urgent. And I'll cover the 3 most common mistakes teams make trying to implement these systems. By the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit of systems you can implement with your team this week to get more of the right work done. The first habit is about making good behavior easy. Most marketing teams have the right intentions. They try to keep their project boards updated. They try to keep up with checking analytics regularly. They try to follow the processes, but there's always some kind of friction in the way. It may be a lengthy login process, or the dozen Slack messages they get as soon as they get into work, or having to think through all the steps needed to get a project started. High-performing teams do whatever it takes to minimize friction as much as possible. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, considers this one of the key steps to installing a habit. So to remove the apprehension of starting a new project, try creating a step-by-step project brief template that you keep right on your desktop. When you need to start a new project, you open it immediately and start planning. Zero decision fatigue about what you need to do to get started. Or for your analytics, set your dashboard as your browser's homepage or a pinned tab. Every time you open Chrome, you see your numbers first. No extra steps, no forgetting to check. The data is just there waiting for you. Pin your Asana board, your Trello board, your Monday board, whatever you use to your taskbar, so you have all the tasks for the day right in front of you when you start your day. All of these tips sound simplistic and too insignificant to matter. But the truth is, it's often the smallest things that can be just enough of a barrier to actually get you to move forward. The pebble blocking a small hole in a dam. Remove it and the hole grows and grows and grows until the water can't be stopped. Take away the friction and unleash the power of your team. Second habit, time blocking for deep work. Most marketers spend their days in reactive mode. We live in a world of constant Slack pings and email notifications. Colleague stops by with a quick question. An unexpected mandatory meeting gets added to your calendar. Before you know it, it's 4 p.m. and you haven't touched the strategic work that actually moves the business forward. Cal Newport calls this the difference between deep work and shallow work. Deep work is the cognitively demanding tasks that create real value, like writing strategy documents, analyzing campaign performance, or mapping out a new sales funnel. Shallow work, on the other hand, is the logistical stuff, like responding to emails or attending status meetings and updating spreadsheets. Both are necessary, but if shallow work eats your entire day, nothing important gets done. High performers block time for focused work like it's a meeting. Because if you don't protect your calendar, other people will 100% try to fill it for you. Block 2 to 3 chunks of deep work time each day. Maybe 9 to 11 a.m. is for campaign strategy, 2 to 3 p.m. is for creative reviews. Make these non-negotiable appointments with yourself. They show up on your calendar as busy. You don't schedule over them. You don't let others schedule over them. Also, batch your communication. Instead of checking Slack and email all day, set 2 or 3 short communication blocks, maybe 8:30 a.m., 12 p.m., and 4 p.m. During those windows, that's the only time you respond to messages, handle quick requests, clear your inbox. Outside those windows, notifications are off. This takes discipline at first. You'll feel the pull to check your phone to see if something urgent came in. but urgent is rarely as urgent as it feels. And the work you do in focus blocks is worth 10 times the scattered effort of just reacting. I'll be honest, I've struggled a lot with this too. One of the reasons is that every email or message you get is a little dopamine fix. Reading them and responding to them makes you feel like you accomplished a small win, which is so very attractive when real, deep work is hard and its very nature difficult, and the results are often far away. But if you can build this habit of blocking time for specific important actions, you'll accomplish tremendously more and feel much more accomplished. This comes from David Allen's Getting Things Done methodology, and it's one of the most practical frameworks for staying organized. Here's the root problem that we all face. Most task lists are full of vague items, like work on Q2 campaign or follow up with vendor, website updates. These aren't actionable. They're project labels. And when you look at a vague item, your brain has to do extra work to figure out what to actually do. This creates resistance, so you skip it and check email instead. For every task, every project, every request that comes in, ask one question. What's the very next physical action? Work on campaign is too vague, but draft 3 headline options for the Facebook ad, or send brief to designer with Monday deadline, or schedule a 30-minute review call with client for Thursday. Now those are clear actions. It's something that you can do right now in one sitting without needing any more information. Here's the trick to know if a task is too vague or not. If you can picture yourself literally doing that action and you truly know what you're doing in that scene, then it's a clear next step. Once you've identified the next action, put it on one of 3 lists. Today, things that must happen in the next 8 hours. Keep this list short, 3 to 5 items max. This week, things you get to before Friday. These are important, but not urgent today. Waiting for. Things you've delegated or are blocked on. And be specific. Waiting for Sarah, new landing page, hero image expected Wednesday is better than waiting on design. Include the person's name, what you're waiting for, and when you expect it. Review these lists once each morning. 5 minutes at the start of your day keeps everything visible and nothing falls through the cracks. 4th habit, define your 90-day rocks. This concept comes from the Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS. A rock is your most important output for a quarter. Not a goal, not a metric, a definitive output. Something you can point to and say, this is done or this isn't done. Increase pipeline by 20% is a goal. Launch the new paid campaign structure is a rock. Improve email engagement is vague. Implement lead scoring in HubSpot is a rock. See the difference? Rocks are specific, completable deliverables. Every marketing team should have a maximum of 3 rocks for the quarter. Not 10, not 7, 3. If everything is a priority, well then nothing is really a priority. Maybe your 3 rocks could be launch the new paid campaign structure, implement lead scoring in HubSpot, and publish 12 blog posts. Those are rocks. They're specific, definitive, and they move the needle. Once you have your rocks, connect your daily work to them. Each morning, write down 3 tasks. Again, not 10, just 3. And each of those 3 tasks should support one of your rocks. If a task doesn't connect to a rock, ask yourself why you're doing it. Maybe it's necessary maintenance work, and that's fine, but if it's neither supporting a rock nor keeping the lights on, it's probably not worth your time today. This creates alignment between your daily actions and your quarterly priorities. You stop feeling busy without being productive. The work you do each day compounds toward outcomes that matter. Now, that's not to say that's the only 3 tasks you do in a day, but the problem we have is that we often treat every task we have on our plate as being equal when they're not. You need to literally define that these are the 3 most important tasks that I need to do today. Think about it in these terms. If you do these 3 tasks, it's a win. You can definitely do other things, but if you don't do these 3 tasks, then you can't call today a win. Trust me, if you reframe your task in this way, you'll see long-term results. At the end of each week, ask, did my work this week move any of our rocks forward? If the answer is no for multiple weeks in a row, something is wrong with how you're spending your time. 5th habit, habit stack. This comes from James Clear's work on building habits. The idea is simple. You don't try to build new behaviors from scratch. You attach them to behaviors you already do. Your brain is already wired to perform certain actions automatically. You open up your laptop, you pour your coffee, you finish your last meeting before lunch. These are existing triggers. Habit stacking uses them as anchors for new behaviors. The formula is, after I current habit, I will new habit. For marketers, this might look like, after I open my laptop, I will spend 3 minutes checking yesterday's key metrics. You already opened your laptop. Now you're adding a quick metrics view to that existing trigger. You don't have to remember to do it. The laptop opening becomes the cue. Or, after my first coffee, I'll choose my top 3 tasks for the day. The coffee is already happening. You're stacking the task selection on top of it. Or, after I send my last email before lunch, I will update my project board. Lunch is a natural break point. Or, after our Monday team meeting ends, I'll review our Rocks progress. The meeting is already on the calendar. The review happens automatically after. Habit stacking works because you're not relying on motivation or memory. You're creating automatic sequences. The existing habit becomes the cue for the new one. Over time, the sequence feels like one continuous behavior instead of separate steps. Sixth habit, fear setting. This comes from Tim Ferriss, and it's the opposite of goal setting. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, you focus on what you're afraid might happen. Marketing teams often avoid high leverage decisions because they're scary. Shifting a big chunk of budget to an unproven channel, running a controversial creative test, cutting a legacy program that's been around forever but isn't producing results, posing a complete rebrand to leadership. These decisions get stuck in limbo. Teams talk about them for months without acting. The fear of what might go wrong paralyzes the decision. Fear setting helps you make those decisions with clarity instead of avoidance. Take 10 to 15 minutes and work through the following 3 columns. Column 1, define. What are the worst case outcomes if this goes wrong? Be specific and complete. It could be that we wasted $20,000 on that channel that doesn't convert, or leadership lost confidence in our judgment and started micromanaging, or the campaign flopped publicly and competitors screenshot it and posted it all over social media. Write it all down. Get the fears out of your head and onto paper. Column 2, prevent. What can you do to reduce the likelihood of each worst case outcome? Maybe you run a smaller test first with $5,000 instead of $20,000. Maybe you set clear kill criteria before you launch, like if our cost per lead exceeds $150 after 2 weeks, then we pause. Maybe you get buy-in from stakeholders early so you're not the only one accountable. For each fear, write down specific prevention steps. Column 3, repair. If the worst case happens anyway, how would you recover? Usually the answer is more manageable than you'd think. You'd reallocate budget from a lower priority channel, or you'd learn from the data and apply it to the next test. Or you'd have a candid conversation with leadership about what you learned. Careers rarely end because one campaign didn't work. Fear setting doesn't eliminate risk. It makes risk visible and manageable. And once you see it clearly, the decision becomes easier. Often you'll realize the worst case isn't as catastrophic as your brain made it seem. 7th habit, the focusing question. This comes from Gary Keller's book, The One Thing. And honestly, it's the single most useful question I have found for cutting through the noise when everything feels equally urgent. The question is, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Not what are the 5 things, not what should I do next, what's the one thing that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? This question forces prioritization. It pushes you to find the domino that knocks down the others. For your marketing team, maybe the answer is fix our attribution model. Because once you have accurate attribution, every decision about where to spend money becomes clearer, and you stop guessing which channels work because the data is telling. Or maybe the answer is nail our core message, because once the message is right, all your campaigns, your content, your sales enablement materials get easier to create, and you're not reinventing the wheel every time. Or maybe the answer is hire a senior content person, because that one hire unlocks capacity across the whole team and they take ownership of a function that's currently spread thin. Ask this question at the start of each week and at the start of each day. Ask it when you're stuck in a meeting and nobody knows what to prioritize next. The answer won't always be obvious, but the question itself creates focus. Now let's talk about what often goes wrong, because I've seen teams try to implement these systems and fail. Honestly, I've tried to implement these systems for myself and failed. So here are the 3 most common mistakes. Mistake number 1, trying to implement everything at once. You watch a video like this and you get excited and try to adopt all 7 habits Monday. By Wednesday, you've dropped 3 of them. By Friday, you're back to your old patterns and feeling like a failure. Systems don't work that way. Your brain can only handle so much change at once. So just pick one habit, just one. Practice it for 2 to 4 weeks until it feels automatic. Then add another. Slow adoption leads to permanent change. Fast adoption leads to abandoned experiments. Mistake number 2, not getting team buy-in. You decide to implement time blocking, but you don't actually put it on your calendar and your team doesn't put it on their calendar. So people keep scheduling meetings during your team's deep work blocks. These habits work best when you make them just as important as any other meeting. So explain why you're implementing them. Get agreement on the norms. We don't schedule internal meetings between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. We update our task statuses before end of day Friday. We start every Monday reviewing our rocks. Collective commitment makes individual discipline easier. Mistake number 3, treating systems as permanent. A system that worked 6 months ago might not work today. Your team may have grown, your priorities shifted. The tools you use changed, but you keep following the same old system because that's what you've always done. You need to build in regular reviews. Once a quarter, ask, are these systems still serving us? What's working? What's creating friction instead of removing it? What should we change? Systems should evolve. The teams that get stuck are the ones that treat their processes as sacred instead of as tools to be refined. We went over 7 habits that separate high-performing marketing teams from the ones that spin their wheels. Reduce friction so good behavior is 1 click away. 2, block time for deep work and batch your communication. 3, clarify the next action for every task. 4, define your 90-day rocks and connect daily work to them. 5, stack new habits onto existing ones. 6, use fear setting to make scary decisions with clarity. 7, ask the focusing question to find the one thing that makes everything else easier. And also remember the 3 mistakes to avoid. Don't try to do everything at once, get team buy-in, and keep your systems evolving. None of these require budget approval. None of them require new tools or technology. You can start implementing any one of them this week. Here's what I want you to do after this video, and I'm going to give you something extra, a mini workshop outline you can run with your own team. So block 60 minutes on your team's calendar, and here's the agenda. Set the context. Explain that you want to try implementing at least one of these habits as a team. Quick overview. Walk through the 7 habits at a high level. You don't need to explain each one in depth. Just give a 1-sentence summary of each so everyone knows the options. Discussion. Ask 2 questions. First, which of these habits would make the biggest difference for our team right now? Let people share their perspectives. Second, what's currently getting in the way of us doing our best work? Listen for patterns. The answers will help you choose the right habit to start with. Choose one habit. Based on discussion, pick one habit to implement together. Just one. Then get specific. If you're doing time blocking, decide which hours are protected. If you're doing next actions, agree on where you'll track them. If you're doing rocks, draft your 3 priorities for the quarter right there in the room. Define the experiment. Agree on a trial period. 2 weeks is usually enough to see if something's working. Decide how you know if it's successful. What does better look like? And schedule a follow-up meeting to evaluate. Commit. Go around the room and have each person say one thing they'll personally do differently starting tomorrow. Public commitment increases follow-through. That's it. 60 minutes. No fancy facilitation required. Just a room, a whiteboard, and a willingness to try something new. Now, if you want to go deeper, I run full workshops for marketing teams. These workshops are hands-on, and you don't just learn concepts or frameworks. I'll work with you to create an actual implementation plan on how to apply everything you learned. If that's something your team needs, check out idealmarketing.com. There's a link in the description. We can talk about what a workshop would look like for your specific situation. If you found this useful, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment below telling me which habit you're going to implement first. Or if you run the mini workshop with your team, let me know how it goes. I read every comment. Now go pick one habit and start using it this week. Remember, you don't need to buy more ads when you have better ideas.